Welcome back to Islam in its own words. Today we're going to focus on what Islam says about rules regarding the appearance of women. Muslim apologists insist that Islam is a model of feminism and women's rights. But the Quran and Hadith show differently, and there are countless modern examples to the contrary from around the world. Yet in the West, there's a lot of denial about not only what is commanded of women, but also the consequences for them if they do not comply. First, in Islam, women are considered inferior to men, which is how men justify regulating a woman's conduct. The Quran and Hadith say that this is because of the deficiency of a woman's mind and her religion. Because of this, their witness is less valuable than that of a man's. We see that in Quran 2:282, as well as the Hadith in Bukhari 26:58 and Bukhari 3:04.
O you who have believed, when you contract a debt for a specified term, write it down. And let a scribe write it between you in justice. Let no scribe refuse to write as Allah has taught him. So let him write, and let the one who has the obligation, i.e. the debtor, dictate. And let him fear Allah, his Lord, and not leave anything out of it. But if the one who has the obligation is of limited understanding, or weak, or unable to dictate himself, then let his guardian dictate in justice. And bring to witness 2 witnesses from among your men. And if there are not 2 men available, then a man and 2 women from those whom you accept as witnesses, so that if one of them, i.e. the women, errs, then the other can remind her. And let not the witnesses refuse when they are called upon. And do not be too weary to write it, whether it is small or large, for its specified term. That is more just in the sight of Allah, and stronger as evidence, and more likely to prevent doubt between you, except when it is an immediate transaction which you conduct among yourselves. For then there is no blame upon you if you do not write it. And take witnesses when you conclude a contract. Let no scribe be harmed or any witness. For if you do so, indeed, it is grave disobedience in you. And fear Allah. And Allah teaches you. And Allah is knowing of all things.
The Prophet said, "Isn't the witness of a woman equal to half of that of a man?" The women said, "Yes." He said, "This is because of the deficiency of a woman's mind." Once Allah's apostle went out to the Musalla to offer the prayer of Eid al-Adha or al-Fitr prayer. Then he passed by the women and said, "O women, give alms, as I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of hellfire were you women." They asked, "Why is it so, O Allah's apostle?" He replied, "You curse frequently and are ungrateful to your husbands. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. A cautious sensible man could be led astray by some of you." The women asked, "O Allah's apostle, what is deficient in our intelligence and religion?" He said, "Is not the evidence of 2 women equal to the witness of 1 man?" They replied in the affirmative. He said, "This is the deficiency in her intelligence. Isn't it true that a woman can neither pray nor fast during her menses?" The women replied in the affirmative. He said, "This is the deficiency in her religion."
Muhammad said that women are inferior as leaders in Bukhari 1799.
Never will succeed such a nation as makes a woman their ruler.
Both men and women are told to lower the gaze and guard their modesty, but the Quran has additional admonitions for women. These include how to dress and who they can be around without covering their body.
Say to the believing men that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty. That will make for greater purity for them. And Allah is well acquainted with all that they do. And say to the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty, that they should not display their beauty and ornaments except what must ordinarily appear thereof, that they should draw their veils over their bosoms and not display their beauty except to their husbands, their fathers, their husbands' fathers, their sons, their husbands' sons, their brothers or their brothers' sons, or their sisters' sons, or their women, or the slaves whom their right hands possess, or male servants free of physical needs, or small children who have no sense of the shame of sex, and that they should not strike their feet in order to draw attention to their hidden ornaments. And O ye believers, turn ye altogether towards Allah, that ye may attain bliss.
These specific rules for women to cover should be done in order that they do not get abused.
O Prophet, tell your wives and your daughters and the women of the believers to bring down over themselves part of their outer garments. That is more suitable that they will be known and not be abused. And ever is Allah forgiving and merciful.
Bukhari 146 explains what the verse in 33:59 was revealed, and that it means a full body cover excluding the eyes.
The wives of the prophet used to go to Al-Manasi, a vast open place near Baqi at Medina, to answer the call of nature at night. Umar used to say to the prophet, "Let your wives be veiled," but Allah's apostle did not do so. One night Sauda bint Zama, the wife of the prophet, went out at Isha time, and she was a tall lady. Umar addressed her and said, "I have recognized you, O Sauda." He said so, as he desired eagerly that the verses of Al-Hijab, the observing of veils by the Muslim women, may be revealed. So Allah revealed the verses of Al-Hijab, a complete body cover excluding the eyes.
Muhammad said that when visiting his house, the visitor should talk to his wives from behind the screen. The 14th century Sharia manual, Reliance of the Traveler, says that women can't go outside their home without a veil.
A majority of scholars, with the exception of some Hanafis, have been recorded as holding that it is unlawful for women to leave the house with faces unveiled, whether or not there is likelihood of temptation. When there is likelihood of temptation, scholars unanimously concur that it is unlawful, temptation meaning anything that leads to sexual intercourse or its usual preliminaries. As for when there is real need, looking is not unlawful, provided temptation is unlikely. Being alone with a woman who is not one's wife or unmarriageable kin is absolutely unlawful, though if there are two women and a man, the man and the woman are no longer considered alone.
So why such strict rules for covering? Reliance of the Traveler explains that a woman is considered naked if any part of her body is exposed.
The nakedness of a man, meaning the counterpart of the female, including young boys, even if not yet of the age of discrimination, consists of the area between the navel and knees. The nakedness of a woman, even if a young girl, consists of the whole body except the face and hands. The nakedness of women is that which invalidates the prayer if exposed.
If a woman is exposed and a man sees her, she is guilty of tempting the men to sin. Because of this, attractive women are not allowed to go to the mosque to pray because they might tempt men.
It is better for women to pray at home than at the mosque, whether they are young or old. It is offensive for an attractive or young woman to come to the mosque to pray, or for her husband to permit her, though not offensive for women who are not young or attractive when this is unlikely to cause temptation. The author's words here must be interpreted in the light of the following details. If a woman's going to group prayer or elsewhere will definitely lead to temptation between the sexes, it is unlawful for her to go.
Likewise, women should not use perfume or jewelry, because if someone can smell it, she's committed adultery.
That the prophet said, "Every eye commits adultery," and when the woman uses perfume, and she passes by a gathering, then she is like this and that, meaning an adulteress. The Messenger of Allah said, "Any woman who puts on perfume, then passes by people so that they can smell her fragrance, then she is an adulteress."
Not only are women responsible for tempting men, but based on the verse in 33:59, women can be expected to be abused if they don't cover themselves. Still, men will not be held accountable because the Sharia manual establishes a nearly impossible threshold for accusing someone of rape.
If testimony concerns fornication or sodomy, then it requires 4 male witnesses, who testify, in the case of fornication, that they have seen the offender insert the head of his penis into her vagina.
Muhammad also cursed women for using or placing wigs, and for getting or giving tattoos.
The prophet has cursed the lady who lengthens her hair artificially, and the one who gets her hair lengthened, and also the lady who tattoos herself or others, and the one who gets herself tattooed.
This is even the case if someone loses their hair due to sickness.
I have a daughter who has been newly wedded. She had an attack of smallpox and thus her hair had fallen. Should I add false hair to her head? Thereupon Allah's messenger said, Allah has cursed the woman who adds some false hair, and the woman who asks for it.
Another hadith says not to use false hair because it's what the Jews did.
I saw Muawiyah during the Hajj pilgrimage standing on the pulpit. He took from the guard a bunch of hair, and said, "O people of Al-Madinah, where are your scholars? Why do they not prohibit you?" I heard the Prophet prohibiting from using this false hair, and saying, "The people of Bani Israel were ruined when their women wore such hair."
Nor can anyone dye their hair black, unless it's for jihad.
It is unlawful for men or women to dye their hair black, except when the intention is jihad, as a show of strength to unbelievers. Plucking out gray hair is offensive. It is sunnah to dye the hair with yellow or red. It is unlawful for a woman to cut her hair to disfigure herself, e.g. for mourning, though if done for the sake of beauty it is permissible. It is sunnah for a married woman to dye all of her hands and feet with henna, a red plant dye, but it is unlawful for men to do so unless it is needed, to protect from sunburn, for example.
The controversial subject of female circumcision is permitted according to some hadith and codified in the Sharia manual.
A woman used to perform circumcision in Medina. The Prophet said to her, "Do not cut severely, as that is better for a woman, and more desirable for a husband." There cropped up a difference of opinion between a group of muhajirs, emigrants, and a group of Ansar, helpers, and the point of dispute was that the Ansar said, the bath because of sexual intercourse becomes obligatory only when the semen spurts out or ejaculates. But the muhajirs said, when a man has sexual intercourse with the woman, a bath becomes obligatory, no matter whether or not there is seminal emission or ejaculation. Abu Musa said, "Well, I satisfy you on this issue." He, Abu Musa, the narrator, said, "I got up and went to Aisha and sought her permission and it was granted, and I said to her, 'O mother, or mother of the faithful, I want to ask you about a matter on which I feel shy.' She said, 'Don't feel shy of asking me about a thing which you can ask your mother, who gave you birth, for I am too your mother.' Upon this I said, 'What makes a bath obligatory for a person?' She replied, 'You have come across one well informed.' The Messenger of Allah said, 'When anyone sits amidst 4 parts of the woman and the circumcised parts touch each other, a bath becomes obligatory.'"
And according to the Sharia manual, female circumcision is required.
Circumcision is obligatory for both men and women. For men it consists of removing the prepuce from the penis, and for women, removing the prepuce of the clitoris, not the clitoris itself, as some mistakenly assert. Hanbalis hold that circumcision of women is not obligatory but sunnah, while Hanafis consider it a mere courtesy to the husband.
It's only within the last few decades that the content of the Quran, Hadith, and Sharia have become widely available to outsiders in the West. Despite this, many will still believe the lies about what apologists say that directly contradict these Islamic sources. Make sure to check the description of this video to see the sources mentioned in all the videos in this channel, and others that didn't make it. Thanks for watching Islam in its own words. Like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss another episode.